I told you not to be nervous, Lily, I whispered as we entered the banquet hall. It's just family and friends. You say that like it's nothing, she muttered, gripping my hand. But everyone stares like I don't belong here. You belong with me, I said firmly, always. The chandeliers glimmered above us, and laughter echoed around the tables. My fiancé, Daniel, stood at the center, charming everyone with that confident smile. He raised a glass. Finally, the beautiful bride-to-be has arrived, he called out, eyes landing on me before sliding toward Lily. And she brought her shadow. My stomach tightened. Daniel, I warned softly. He ignored me. Ladies and gentlemen, let's toast to the one who always tags along. Isn't it sweet how she clings to her sister like a lost puppy? Whispers spread through the crowd. Lily's face went pale. Stop it, I hissed under my breath. That's enough, Daniel chuckled, raising his voice louder. Honestly, we should all admire her bravery. Imagine living off your sister's kindness, never achieving anything yourself. What a talent to take without giving. Daniel, I shouted this time, but my voice trembled. That's cruel. Lily's lips parted, her eyes shimmering. Why would you say that? She whispered, but he didn't stop. Because truth should be spoken, he said, smirking. Some people are burdens, and the sooner they realize it, the better for everyone else. The hall fell silent. Forks froze in midair. I felt the eyes of my relatives stabbing into me, waiting for me to defend her. But my body betrayed me. I stood frozen. Say something, Lily begged, her voice breaking. My throat closed. I looked at Daniel, the man I thought I loved, and my sister who had always trusted me. Words refused to form. See, Daniel sneered. Even your own sister won't deny it. Gasps rippled through the crowd. My mother slammed her glass on the table. Enough. How dare you humiliate my daughter like this? Daniel raised his brows innocently. I was only joking. That was no joke, Lily cried, tears spilling. You think I don't hear the way you look down on me? You think I don't notice? Lily, I reached for her, but she pulled away. You stayed quiet, she whispered, voice trembling. You let him tear me apart in front of everyone. I didn't mean you meant everything, she said to Daniel, her hands shaking. And you, her eyes cut into me, you meant your silence. The sting pierced deeper than any insult Daniel threw. Daniel scoffed. Overdramatic, isn't she? I snapped at him finally. Shut up, Daniel. The room gasped again. He looked at me in shock. What? Are you defending her now? After all the times she's leeched off you? She's my sister, I spat. She's my family. And you, my voice faltered, fear colliding with rage. You went too far. Lily shook her head. Too late, she whispered, then turned and ran toward the exit. Lily, I shouted, but she was already gone. My chest tightened until I couldn't breathe. Daniel leaned closer, his voice low so only I could hear. You'll thank me one day. I only said what everyone already thinks. My hand trembled. I wanted to strike him, to scream, but all I managed was silence. My silence, heavy and unforgivable. Applause did not return. Music did not resume. The hall remained frozen, judgment hanging in the air like smoke. That night, I hated him for the cruelty he showed. But worse, I hated myself for letting it happen. And in that single moment, everything broke. Lily, open the door, I pleaded, knocking softly. Silence, it's me, I whispered. Please, just talk to me. Finally, her voice came through, cracked and tired. Why didn't you say anything? My chest ached. I froze. I didn't know what to do. You didn't know? She snapped. He called me a parasite, in front of everyone, and you stood there. I wanted to protect you by staying silent. Her laugh was bitter. That's not protection. That's betrayal. I leaned my head against the door. I'm sorry, Lily. I swear I never wanted to hurt you. Her voice broke. You already did. The door stayed shut. I dragged myself downstairs where my mother sat stiffly on the couch. She didn't look at me when she spoke. Do you understand what you allowed tonight? I didn't allow anything, I muttered, but my throat burned. You did, she said sharply. You let that man insult your sister and you said nothing. I tried, you tried nothing. She cut me off, eyes blazing. I raised you to stand by your family. And tonight you failed? The words sliced deeper than I expected. I lowered my gaze. I made a mistake. Your mistake crushed your sister, she said coldly. Remember that. I felt my knees weaken. Mom, please no, she turned away. Save your excuses for him, since he seems to matter more than your own blood. I couldn't breathe. Every word pressed against me like a weight. The door opened behind me, and Daniel strolled in casually, loosening his tie. Everyone's so serious. It was just a joke. I spun on him. A joke? Yes, he said smoothly, shrugging. People laughed. Didn't they? They laughed because they were uncomfortable, I snapped. You humiliated her. He smirked. Oh, come on, she's too sensitive. If she can't handle a little teasing, that's not my problem. I stepped closer, anger shaking me. You didn't tease her. You shredded her in front of the entire family. She cried herself behind a locked door because of you. Daniel raised his brows. And she'll get over it. You don't understand, I hissed. She trusts me to protect her, and I failed because of you. Because of me? He laughed. Don't blame me for your silence. My breath caught. His words twisted like knives. You're supposed to be my partner, I whispered. But tonight, you made me choose between you and her. He tilted his head. And you chose me. That says everything, doesn't it? The guilt roared inside me. He was right, I had chosen silence. I had chosen him. I don't know if I can forgive you for this, I muttered. Daniel leaned in, his voice low and mocking. You'll forgive me. You always do. I clenched my fists, but said nothing. My mother's glare burned from across the room. Lily's silence echoed upstairs. For the first time, I looked at Daniel and felt something unfamiliar. Not love, not loyalty, resentment, and it was growing. Daniel, we need to talk, I said the moment the door shut behind us. He loosened his cufflinks, smirking. About what? That little scene? Don't tell me you're still upset. Upset? My voice cracked. You humiliated Lily in front of everyone. She hasn't spoken to me since. He waved a hand dismissively. She'll recover. She always does. You don't know her, I shot back. She's fragile. Words crush her. That's the problem, he said smoothly. She's too fragile. People like her drag others down. You should thank me for being honest. I stared at him, disbelief tightening my chest. Thank you for destroying her confidence? He met my eyes without a hint of shame. You're overreacting. You've always babied her. It's pathetic, pathetic, I whispered, my hands trembling. She's my sister. She's my blood. How dare you speak of her that way? Daniel sighed, walking toward the mirror. You're emotional. That's why I love you. But you can't expect me to treat everyone the way I treat you. She's irrelevant. Irrelevant. The word burned. I stepped closer, forcing him to face me. Don't you ever call her that again, he smirked. Or what? You'll leave me? My silence gave him all the answer he needed. He chuckled. That's what I thought. I swallowed hard. I don't even recognize you right now. I'm the same man I've always been, he said casually. You just refuse to see me clearly. The arrogance in his tone made me shiver. For the first time, I wondered if I'd been blind all along. That night, I couldn't sleep. His words replayed in my head, each one heavier than the last. Irrelevant, fragile, pathetic. They were daggers meant for Lily, but they cut me, too. The next morning, as I walked into the cafe near my office, I overheard two women whispering. Did you see Daniel last night? One asked, giggling. With Clara? The other replied. She looked radiant on his arm. Everyone's saying she's climbing fast, maybe higher than she deserves. My stomach dropped. I froze near the counter, pretending to skim the menu. Clara knows how to play men, the first woman continued. Daniel doesn't stand a chance. Poor girl who's engaged to him, she has no idea. Their laughter stung worse than Daniel's insults. I gripped my cup so tightly I thought it might shatter. When I finally walked out, the city felt unfamiliar. Every step was heavy with doubt. Was Daniel using me all this time? Was I nothing more than a placeholder while he played games with someone like Clara? That evening, I confronted him again. Where were you last night? At a meeting. He answered smoothly, loosening his tie. With Clara? I pressed. His eyes narrowed slightly. Who told you that? It doesn't matter, I said coldly. What matters is whether it's true. He smirked, a dangerous glint in his eyes. You're jealous. I like that. It means you care. I'm not jealous, I snapped. I'm disgusted. He stepped closer, brushing his fingers along my arm. Relax. Clara is nothing. Just someone who enjoys my company. The pit in my stomach deepened. You lied to me. He tilted his head, smiling faintly. Everyone lies. You'll forgive me. But inside, I knew I wouldn't, for the first time. I saw the mask slip, and I realized the man I thought I loved might never have existed at all. I tightened my coat and followed him from a distance. Daniel's car pulled up outside a hotel downtown, sleek and expensive. My pulse raced as I slipped into the shadows. He stepped out, looking polished, confident, and touchable. Then she appeared, Clara. Her red dress shimmered under the streetlights as she slipped her arm through his. Daniel, she purred, her voice carrying even from where I stood. I knew you wouldn't disappoint me. Of course not, he said smoothly. You deserve the best. My chest tightened. They walked inside, and I hurried after them, heart pounding against my ribs. At the lobby, I caught sight of them near the bar. Everyone was watching you tonight, Clara teased. You looked powerful. Daniel chuckled, raising his glass. Power means nothing without someone worthy to share it with, and that's me, she asked, tilting her head. He leaned closer, his voice low but sharp enough to cut me open. You're the woman who deserves to stand beside me. The words hit harder than a slap. Clara smirked. And the fiancé? The fragile little thing who clings to you. Dead weight. Daniel replied instantly. She'll always be tied to her sister, always living small. You, Clara, you know how to shine. I stumbled back, bile rising in my throat. My nails dug into my palms. Clara laughed, light and cruel. So why keep her at all? Daniel's smile darkened. Image, stability. But once things settle, who knows? Some people can be replaced. I gripped the edge of a pillar, my body shaking. Replaced. That's what I was to him. Then replace her, Clara whispered. You don't need someone who drags you down. Daniel raised his glass again. To the future then. Their glasses clinked. Something inside me cracked. I stepped forward before I could stop myself. So this is who you are. Daniel's head whipped around, his eyes widening. What the Clara gasped, then quickly masked it with a smirk. Well, the fiancé herself. I walked toward them, my voice trembling but sharp. You told her she deserves you? That I'm dead weight? Daniel stood, jaw tight. You're not supposed to be here. I followed you, I spat, because I knew the rumors weren't lies. Don't be dramatic, he snapped. You don't understand. I understand perfectly, I said coldly. You humiliated my sister. You lied to me. And now you sit here, praising her while tearing me apart. Clara leaned back, amused. Oh, Daniel, she has more fire than you give her credit for. Stay out of this. I hissed at her. Daniel grabbed my wrist. Lower your voice. I yanked free. No, everyone should hear. Everyone should know what kind of man you are. His eyes darkened. Careful. Or what? I demanded. You'll insult me the way you did Lily? You'll replace me with her? I jabbed a finger toward Clara. Daniel's silence was my answer. Clara smirked again. She's stronger than you think, Daniel. Maybe you underestimated her. I turned to leave, but my voice shook with fury. You will regret this. Every word, every lie, every betrayal, you'll regret them all. Don't walk away from me, he barked, but I already was. My heels echoed through the lobby, louder than his voice, louder than my breaking heart. Outside, the night air hit me like ice. I gasped, tears stinging my eyes, but anger burned hotter than the pain. This wasn't heartbreak anymore. It was war. I found Lily sitting on the edge of her bed, her shoulders shaking. Lily? I whispered. What happened? She looked up, her eyes red. I heard them. I heard Daniel and Clara. My heart stopped. You heard? Her voice cracked. He said you were dead weight, that I ruined you, that I'm the reason you'll lose him. I sat beside her, gripping her hands. Don't say that. But it's true, she sobbed. If I wasn't such a burden, he wouldn't hate me. You wouldn't be stuck between us. He wouldn't stop. I cut her off. Don't ever blame yourself for his cruelty. He chose to betray me. He chose to humiliate you. None of that is on you. She shook her head violently. It is. I've always been weak. You've always had to protect me. And now it's costing you everything. I pulled her against me. You are not weak. You are kind. You are good. And if protecting you costs me everything, then so be it. You are worth more than he could ever understand. Her tears soaked into my shoulder. But you love him. My throat tightened. I thought I did. You still do, she whispered bitterly. I can see it in your eyes. I closed mine. Maybe, but what I feel doesn't matter anymore. What matters is what he's done. And for that, he will pay. She pulled back, startled. What do you mean? I looked at her, fire burning in my chest. I mean that he will regret every word he ever spoke against you. He thinks you're fragile. He thinks I'll stay silent forever. He's wrong. Her lips trembled. You sound different. I am different, I said, my voice low. That night, when he insulted you, I hated myself for saying nothing. But now, I won't stay quiet. Not again. She clutched my hand. I don't want revenge. I just want peace. And you'll have it, I promised. But peace doesn't come from letting monsters walk free. He needs to know what it feels like to lose everything. She searched my face. Are you sure? This is the path you want? I nodded slowly. It's not about what I want. It's about what he deserves. Her eyes filled again. Just don't lose yourself. I forced a small smile. Don't worry. I've already lost too much to him. I won't give him any more. Silence hung between us. Her sobs softened, but my anger sharpened. I held her close, but my thoughts were far away, already spinning with possibilities. Lily whispered into my shoulder. I wish I was stronger. You are, I murmured. And when this is over, you'll see that he never had the power to define us. She didn't reply, but her trembling eased as she drifted into an exhausted sleep. I sat awake beside her, staring into the dark. That was the night my love finally died, and in its place, vengeance was born. Why are you staring at him like that? Lily whispered as we sat across the room from Daniel at yet another gathering. I lowered my voice. Because I finally see him for what he is. Watch how he talks louder when people listen, softer when they don't. He's desperate for attention. Lily followed my gaze. Daniel laughed too hard at a joke, clinking his glass with a business partner. He looks confident, she muttered. He looks hollow, I corrected. He's obsessed with appearances. Without that shine, he's nothing. Later, when we returned home, Daniel cornered me. Why were you glaring all night? I wasn't glaring. I lied. I was watching. Watching what? He demanded. How easily you crumble when people stop praising you, I replied. His smirk faltered. Careful. You're starting to sound ungrateful. Ungrateful. The word rang in my head long after he stormed out. That night, I sat with a notebook, writing every flaw I'd seen: his greed, his ego, his fear of failure. Each weakness became a weapon in my mind. The next day, I walked through the market when someone called my name. Is that really you? I turned and froze. Ethan? He grinned. It's been years. A rush of relief hit me. I can't believe it. You haven't changed much. You have, he said gently. You look tired. I exhaled. Life's been heavy. Want to grab a coffee? Catch up? I hesitated, then nodded. Yes, I need it. At the caf, he leaned back, studying me. So, tell me, what's going on? I almost laughed. That's a long story. I've got time, he said simply. I stared into my cup. Daniel isn't the man I thought he was. He's cruel, arrogant, and I'm stuck. You don't sound stuck, Ethan said. You sound like someone who already sees the truth. That's the first step. I don't know if I'm strong enough to leave. Then build your strength, he replied firmly. You don't need him. You never did. I met his eyes. You really believe that? He nodded without hesitation. I always have. Something inside me stirred. I've been writing down his flaws, his weaknesses. I don't even know why. Maybe it makes me feel less powerless. Ethan smiled faintly. Maybe because deep down, you're preparing yourself. You're not powerless. You're planning. Planning. What? I asked softly. Your freedom, he said. Maybe even his downfall. The word lingered between us. Downfall. I don't know where to start, I admitted. Start small, Ethan suggested. Find something that's yours. A job, a skill, anything he can't touch. I thought about it. I used to write. I gave it up when he said it was a waste of time. Ethan leaned forward. Then start again. Do it for yourself. I swallowed. Hard. And if he finds out, let him, Ethan said. Every time you take back a piece of yourself, his control weakens. I sat back, letting his words sink in. You make it sound so easy. It's not easy, he admitted, but it's possible. And I believe in you. His confidence pierced through my doubt. For the first time in months, I felt lighter. That night, I opened my old laptop and typed a single line. My hands shook, but I didn't stop. The words poured out, messy and raw, but mine. Lily peeked into the room. What are you doing? Taking something back, I said, smiling faintly. She walked closer, her eyes soft. You look different, stronger. Maybe I am, I whispered. Daniel came home hours later, reeking of whiskey. "Why are you still awake?" "I was writing," I said, refusing to close the laptop. He frowned. "Writing? That's pointless." "Not to me," I replied. For once, he had no answer, and in his silence, I found my first victory. Daniel slammed the door as he came in. "Where the hell is dinner?" I glanced up from my laptop. "You're home early. Rough day?" He threw his jacket onto the couch. "Investors are pulling out. Cowards. They don't see the bigger picture." I shut my screen slowly. "Maybe they see what you refuse to." His eyes narrowed. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Maybe your bigger picture is reckless," I said calmly. "You gamble too much," he scoffed. "You wouldn't understand. It's business." "Business that's slipping through your fingers," I murmured. He glared but didn't answer. Later that night, I overheard him on the phone. His voice was sharp, desperate. "You can't just walk away. We had a deal." "Fine. Then don't come crawling back when I succeed without you." The call ended with a crash as he hurled his glass against the wall. I stayed silent. The next morning, I bumped into a neighbor in the elevator. She leaned closer. "Is it true? Daniel lost another investor?" I forced a neutral smile. "Why, do you ask?" "Everyone's talking," she whispered. "They say his empire is crumbling. They say Claire's already looking for someone else to sponsor her." My pulse quickened, but I only said, "People love gossip." She smirked. "Gossip always starts with truth." When I returned home, Daniel was pacing. Clara's name lit up his phone. He answered quickly. "Clara baby, don't listen to the rumors. I still have control." "What do you mean you're reconsidering? After everything I've given you?" His face drained as her voice echoed faintly. Then he barked. "Fine, go then. You'll regret it." He hung up, panting. I leaned against the doorway. "Problems?" He spun toward me. "Stay out of it." I tilted my head. Clara doesn't sound convinced. Maybe she prefers stable ground. His fist tightened. "Shut up." I smiled faintly. Funny how quickly loyalty fades when the money dries up. He stepped forward, veins bulging. "You think this is funny?" "I think it's familiar," I whispered. "The same way you turned on Lily. Now it's happening to you." His jaw clenched, but he said nothing. Days passed, and the whispers grew louder. At family dinners, aunts whispered behind their hands. "Daniel's losing everything." At the market, vendors chuckled, the mighty investor drowning in debt. Daniel heard it too. "They're all vultures," he raged one evening, circling, waiting for me to fall. I met his eyes. "Maybe you built your kingdom on sand." He slammed his fist against the table. "I'll rebuild. They'll all regret doubting me." But his voice cracked. I didn't comfort him. Instead, I remembered Lily's tears, her whispered words. "You let him destroy me." So I stayed quiet, letting his kingdom collapse piece by piece. And for the first time, my silence felt like power. The knock on my door was frantic, almost desperate. I hesitated, then opened it. Daniel stood there, his suit wrinkled, tie loose, eyes bloodshot. He looked nothing like the man who once walked into rooms demanding attention. "Please," he whispered, "let me in." I stepped aside silently. He stumbled past me, clutching his forehead. "Everyone's gone," he muttered. "Investors, partners, even Clara. They've all abandoned me." I crossed my arms. "Why are you here?" "Because you're the only one who ever stayed," he said quickly. "The only one who ever believed in me." I raised a brow. "Believed? You mean the way I stood by you while you tore my sister apart?" He flinched. "I was wrong. I was stupid. I thought strength meant crushing others. But look at me now, I have nothing." "You still had me then," I reminded him coldly. "And you threw me away." His voice broke. "I didn't mean to. I was blinded by pride. Clara fed it, and I let her. But when the money dried up, she vanished. She never loved me. Not like you did." "Loved," I repeated softly. Past tense. He sank onto the couch, burying his face in his hands. "Don't say that. Please, don't tell me I've lost you too." I studied him, the once arrogant man reduced to begging. "What exactly are you asking for, Daniel?" "Forgiveness," he whispered. "Another chance. I can rebuild everything if you're with me. You're my anchor, my light." I almost laughed. "Your light? You dimmed me every chance you got. You told Clara I was dead weight." His head snapped up, eyes wide. "You heard that?" "I did. Every word." He crumbled further. "I didn't mean it. I was trying to impress her. I was an idiot." "You meant it," I said firmly. "It wasn't a slip. It was who you really are." He reached for my hand, but I pulled away. Don't, I warned. Tears pooled in his eyes. I don't deserve you. But please. I can't do this alone. Just tell me you'll stay. I leaned forward, my voice steady. Do you remember the night you called Lily a parasite? The way you laughed while she cried? His lips trembled. I was cruel. I regret it every day. Too late, I whispered. He shook his head violently. No, it's not too late. We can fix this. We can start over. I stared at him, seeing not the man I once loved but the shell of him. You think I'll save you because you're broken. But Daniel, I'm not here to rebuild you. I'm here to remember who I am without you. His voice cracked. So you're leaving me to drown? You drowned yourself, I replied. I'm just not throwing myself in after you. He slumped back, defeated. Please don't walk away. I stood, heart pounding. I already did, Daniel. The night you chose pride over love. The night you chose cruelty over kindness. He buried his face again, sobbing quietly. For the first time, I felt nothing. No pity, no love, no pain, only clarity. I walked to the door and opened it. Leave. He lifted his head, broken. You don't mean that. I do, I said, calmly. And you'll finally understand what it feels like to lose everything. His shoulders sagged as he rose slowly, dragging himself toward the door. He paused, searching my face one last time, but I gave him nothing. And for the first time, Daniel was truly powerless. Daniel stood in my living room again, his hands shaking. Please, he begged, just give me one more chance. I folded my arms. Do you remember the night you called Lily a parasite? He froze. I don't lie. My voice was sharp. You stood in front of everyone, raised your glass, and said she lived off me like a lost puppy. Do you remember that? His face drained of color. I was drunk, no. I cut him off. You were cruel, and you laughed while she cried. Daniel's lips trembled. I didn't mean it the way it sounded. I stepped closer. Then how did you mean it? Because I can still hear your voice. Word for word. Some people are burdens, and the sooner they realize it, the better for everyone else. He staggered back as if the words themselves struck him. You destroyed her, I continued. You destroyed me, and now you stand here, begging as if forgiveness is mine to give. His eyes glistened. Isn't it? You're the one I hurt most. No, I whispered. You hurt her most. Forgiveness belongs to the one you broke. He frowned, confused. What do you mean? I turned toward the hallway. Lily, come here. The door creaked open. Lily stepped out slowly, her expression unreadable. Daniel's knees buckled. Lily, he gasped, dropping down in front of her. Please, forgive me. I was arrogant, blind. I don't deserve mercy, but I'm begging you. Lily stared at him silent. He grabbed her hand desperately. You're not a burden. You're not worthless. I was the worthless one. Please, don't turn away from me. Her lips parted, but no words came. Tears shimmered in her eyes, yet her face stayed hard. Say something, Daniel begged. Anything. Call me a monster. Scream at me. Just don't ignore me. Lily's hand slipped from his grasp. She turned slowly and walked back toward her room. Lily, his voice cracked. Don't leave me like this. The door clicked shut behind her. Daniel collapsed, clutching his chest. She hates me, he whispered. She'll never forgive me. I looked down at him, my voice steady. Now you know how it feels to beg for words that never come. His head dropped into his hands. I can't live with this. You should have thought of that, I said coldly. The night you chose to humiliate her instead of protect her. He lifted his face, pale and broken. You wanted me to suffer. No, I replied. I wanted you to remember. And now you will for the rest of your life. He shook violently, tears streaking down his cheeks. For the first time, I felt it, not pity, not sorrow, but the sharp, undeniable taste of revenge, and it was sweeter than forgiveness ever could be. Did you hear? My aunt whispered at the family dinner table. Daniel's company filed for bankruptcy. I sipped my tea calmly. People make bad investments. No, this was more than bad, another relative chimed in. He lied to his partners. They're suing him now. My mother's eyes flicked to me, searching my face. I only smiled faintly. Later that evening, Ethan called. It's everywhere, he said. The news, social media. Daniel's name is mud. I leaned back in my chair. Good, he deserves it. He's been calling you? Ethan asked gently. Every day, I admitted. I don't answer. I don't need to. Ethan paused. And how do you feel? I closed my eyes. Free. The next morning, Lily walked into the kitchen holding her phone. They're saying he owes millions. Clara left him for some banker in London. I glanced at her. Do you feel sorry for him? She shook her head. Not anymore. I cried too long because of him. I don't have tears left. I reached across the table, squeezing her hand. That's my girl. She smiled weakly. You sound stronger these days. I am stronger, I told her. Because I finally see myself without him. That afternoon, I met Ethan at the cafe again. He leaned forward, studying me. You're different. There's light in your eyes again. I feel it too, I admitted. Every headline about Daniel's collapse reminds me of his arrogance. He thought he was untouchable. And now? Ethan asked. Now he's crawling through the ruins of his pride. And I'm not there to catch him. Ethan's lips curved into a smile. That's growth. Maybe it's justice, I said quietly. We sat in silence for a moment before I asked, do you ever think people really change? Ethan shrugged. I think people reveal themselves. He revealed his cruelty. You revealed your strength. I exhaled slowly. Strength I didn't know I had. You've always had it, Ethan said. You just forgot. I stared at him, gratitude warming me. Thank you for reminding me. That night, Daniel showed up at my door again, his face hollow. They're destroying me, he whispered. The lawsuits, the debts, I can't survive it. I looked at him steadily. You're reaping what you sowed. He reached for me desperately. You could save me. One word from you, 1 ounce of support, and people would listen. I shook my head. I won't be your shield. Not after what you did to Lily. His voice cracked. So this is it? You're really leaving me to die? This isn't death, I said firmly. This is consequence. He collapsed against the wall, sobbing. I felt no pity, only a strange calm. When he finally staggered out, Lily emerged from the hallway. You didn't even flinch, she whispered. I don't need to, I told her. He has no power over me anymore. She wiped her eyes. You really are my shield. I pulled her into a hug. Always. The next day, Ethan walked me home. So, what now? He asked. Now, I said, looking at the sunset. I rebuild. For myself, for Lily, for us. Ethan smiled softly. And maybe for me? I laughed. Lightly. For the first time in months. Maybe. But first, for me, justice felt complete. Yet beneath it all, the scars remained, and I promised myself I would carry them, not as wounds but as proof that I survived. Lily and I sat on the porch. The evening air soft around us. She broke the silence first. Do you ever think about him? I sighed. Every day. But not the way I used to. She tilted her head. Then how? As a lesson, I answered. Betrayal, humiliation, revenge, they were never really about him. They were about me. About who I let myself be when I was with him. Her hand brushed mine. And who are you now? I smiled faintly. Someone who remembers her worth. For a while, we listened to the crickets. Then she whispered. I still hear his words sometimes. The ones that cut me. I turned to her quickly. Don't. He doesn't deserve to echo in your mind. But they hurt, she admitted. They hurt me too, I said gently. But pain fades when we stop feeding it. His downfall proved something. It was never us who were weak. It was always him. She looked down. You really think it was karma? Yes, I said firmly. Karma dressed like consequence. He dug his grave with greed, with arrogance, with cruelty. I only stepped aside and let him fall into it. Her lips curved slightly. That sounds colder than you used to be. Maybe, I admitted. But maybe I needed to be colder too. Finally protect myself. The front gate creaked, and Ethan appeared carrying 2 cups of coffee. Peace offering, he said lightly. I smiled. You always bring coffee when I look too serious. Because coffee makes everything better, he teased, handing one to Lily and one to me. Then his tone softened. How are you both holding up? Better, Lily said. We're breathing again. I nodded. And for once, we're breathing. Without fear. Ethan studied me quietly. You've come far. I've bled far, I corrected. But yes, I've come far too. He hesitated, then asked, so what now? What do you want to build? I looked at Lily. A life that's ours. A future where no one calls her weak, and no one chains me with their pride. Lily squeezed my hand. We'll build it together. Ethan's eyes softened. And if you'd let me, I'd like to walk with you while you do. I blinked at him. Ethan, he raised his hand. Not as a savior. Not as a replacement. Just as someone who believes in you. Whatever you choose. For a moment, my chest ached. The old me would have clung to him as an escape. The new me knew better. You're kind, I said softly. But right now, what I need most isn't romance. It's healing. He smiled knowingly. Then I'll stay as a friend. Hope can wait. That simple promise warmed me more than any declaration of love. Later, after he left, Lily leaned against my shoulder. Do you ever regret it? The revenge? I thought for a long moment. No, because it wasn't revenge that gave me peace. It was choosing myself. Revenge was just the path that led me here. And where is here? She asked. Here is holding your hand, I whispered. Here is walking forward, scars and all, but not broken anymore. She exhaled, relief in her voice. Then here is enough. We stood and stepped off the porch, hand in hand. The night air smelled of rain, fresh and new. I glanced at her and smiled. The future is ours now, and this time, no one will take it away. She nodded firmly. Together, as we walked down the path, I carried the weight of betrayal, humiliation, and revenge in my memory. But they no longer chained me. They were proof. Proof that I had survived, and survival, I realized, was the truest victory of all.